Hello, The Crisis in Human Affairs. This is J.G. Bennett's first book. It was published in 1948. It's a bit dense, but not because it's a hard book to read, but because it's pretty evident that he's going at pains to have his own version and direction of the work, which at this point makes sense. I think a little background is probably useful. Bennett meets Ouspensky and Gurdjieff, I believe, in 1920 in Constantinople. Bennett does spend some time at the Institute, but really not a lot. He goes back to his work, as a scientist and mathematician in England, but his first wife invites Ouspensky to come over. Ouspensky moves to England. He starts some groups that Bennett is a part of. Fast forward to the beginning of World War II, Ouspensky is convinced that Germany will win the war and England will be no more. So he and Madame Ouspensky move to America, New Jersey and New York. Bennett stays in England. Before Ouspensky leaves, he asks him if he can write a book about the system. This book is not that. What happens is, as the 40s are going along, Ouspensky's getting more and more ticked off at Bennett. And I believe he even tries to sue him. He believes he's stealing his groups, he's plagiarizing his work. Again, reading this, you're not going to get any Ouspensky out of this. I do believe that Bennett went to pains with this book in order to kind of separate himself. But the thing is that this doesn't really strike me as a workbook. It's not. I would certainly not an introduction. If somebody wanted some perspective on the work, I'm not sure this would be the book I would give. It doesn't talk about the work overtly. He puts it in his own scientific historical perspective, which certainly makes a lot of sense given Bennett's background and the jobs that he had at that time. There are some talk about influences A, B, and C, and I don't want to give the impression that there's nothing, that this isn't connected to the work at all, because it is. The work permeates it. It's just the way that he's approaching it and communicating it is probably not the most effective, and I believe he would agree as well. That's the one thing about Bennett that I love, and I've mentioned this in other videos as well, is that he did what he did and he moved on. He didn't look back. He was a seeker first and foremost, more than a teacher, and that never ended. Again, he would clearly at different points in his life, Subud is a good example too, where he goes whole hog, including postage for something, but he can just as easily understand and recognize later on the truthfulness or how it's helping him or isn't helping him, and he course corrects. And that goes, from my perspective, goes all the way to the late 60s until the Sherborne years. That's really where everything seemed to have coalesced and crystallized, and we really get the true Bennett that we all know and love. So I do believe this book is definitely worth a read. The one huge or point of seeing that I got from this book is in the first half, he talks a couple of times about how we judge ourselves based on our intentions, but we judge other people based on their actions. And that's very enlightening and very true. Always good to be reminded of the basics. Go back to the 101. And I do believe that there is stuff in this book. It's definitely worth a read. And I would love anyone who has read this book, if your perspective is different or even the same, I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you think of this book and what you got out of it. Thanks and good luck.